Welcome to See You on the Other Side, where the world of the mysterious collides with the world of entertainment. A discussion of art, music, movies, spirituality, the weird, and self-discovery. And now, your hosts, musicians and entertainers who have their own weakness for the weird, Mike and Wendy from the band Sunspot.
Well, here we are, Mike.
Live from the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference, the first Milwaukee Paranormal Conference here at the See You on the Other Side booth / Milwaukee Ghost booth / Madison Ghost Walks booth.
Yes, we're in the conference hall, and it's a very exciting place to be. There's
Absolutely.
Frenzy of activity here, and Allison just gave her speech and did very well.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
So there's a feeding frenzy of people at our booth coming
And
to meet her.
it's a party at the booth, too.
It
It's
is.
Wendy, it's me, it's Lisa from Madison Ghost Walks.
And we have a disco light.
And we are the only booth with a disco light. But it's not my favorite booth right now is the one with the Sasquatch.
That's right, I gotta get a picture of that.
Get a picture of the dude dressed as Bigfoot. That's my personal favorite.
We will, and we're going to try to get some other people on, so
we'll be hanging out. We're hanging out here all day. We're going to collect people's stories, and we're going to talk a little bit about the conference and talk with some of the guests here, because a lot of the guests here, Wendy, have already been guests on the See You on the Other Side podcast.
I know, we're sitting here in a booth, and right across from us at the other booth is
and I'm looking at Don Schmidt's picture on my iPad right now.
And you can look at him live in the flesh. And when I first walked in, I saw Mark O'Connell.
Yep, and he's talking right now, actually.
Right, and T. Krulos also just stopped by the booth a short while ago.
And he is the guy who the idea was the whole thing of this Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. T. Krulos, who talked to us about real-life superheroes, but also he's got a new book out called Monster Hunters.
That's right.
Where he goes along with guys who are hunting down cryptids.
Right, exactly.
And so we'll get a couple of words from T in a little bit.
Yeah. So let's we'll check back in a short while.
Yep, we're right by the bar too. So this is probably going to devolve as the day goes on.
Did you plan that? Did you request the booth to be next to it? It's Quinlan's Pub.
I didn't, but it's just about perfect.
I know. When I walked in and saw that, I was like, well, that's quite convenient, isn't it?
That's one thing is you're at somewhere in Milwaukee when there's two bars in one small community center for a convention.
It's pretty amazing.
I love it.
All right, we have our first guest of the day. And what's your name?
I'm Justin.
Justin, wonderful to meet you, and thank you for stopping by our booth.
Thank you for pulling.
Yeah, this is exciting. So you have something interesting to tell us.
You want to know about a ghost story?
Yeah, I'd love to.
I have one out of many. My friend's apartment in West Bend, Wisconsin.
Okay.
We have noticed a couple of other paranormal happenings going on in that apartment.
Really?
And one particular night, me and him are sitting next to each other with an octagon kind of table between us, small little, end table.
Okay.
And just watching TV. His girlfriend went up to the entertainment center and grabbed a giant candle, lit the candle.
Okay.
And as soon as she put it back in the holder, and for some reason I was transfixed on that candle.
Okay.
I didn't have long hair at the time, and the ghost that was in that area ran through my body.
So you felt?
I felt the whole presence and everything, just like if you're laying still, you can still feel everything around you.
Yeah.
All that was taken away for about a second.
Whoa.
I learned about the ghost.
Really?
She was a 19-year-old girl who died of a disease back in the pioneer days.
Sad.
And she was still buried there.
On that property?
On that property.
Wow.
So she was still roaming around the whole apartment complex.
Oh my God.
Doing things around everywhere.
So was she a friendly ghost, or?
She was apparently friendly. She was friendly. She wasn't mean or nothing about it. Then the next night after that, I'm the only one that's up. And I got to finally see her as an apparition.
Oh, wow.
Like the edge of a doily?
Yep.
It's got that ruffle edge, it's like a lace edge. Is that around her collar?
Oh, like an old-fashioned kind of...
Yep. I got to see the buttons that go all the way down her dress.
Wow.
And then I got to see that lace border again at the bottom of her feet. Sorry, I keep moving.
No problem.
And I saw a lace border around her feet.
Wow, okay.
And that's all I got to see was that outline.
So was she standing somewhere? Or?
She's just standing there, watching me.
She was looking at you?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's goosebumps. Wow, well, that's a pretty incredible story.
She picked me out of all three of us to
show herself or say hello to.
Run through my body and stuff.
Yeah, wow, you must have some kind of open mind, you know.
I do have an open mind about it. I've always have.
That's cool.
And I've just always had a kind of like a sense towards that kind of thing.
That's really cool. Well, thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for
Hopefully,
inviting me in.
yeah, maybe we can talk to you again and get some more, hear some more about the other things that you've seen.
I got plenty.
All right, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Another one, maybe they'll start.
Okay. Hi, Maliha.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yep, welcome to the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference and See You on the Other Side podcast. And we hear that you have a weird story for us. What's that?
It's terrifying, actually. I was living in Hawaii at the time, but my mom's from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, and that's where I grew up.
Okay, that's where we do our recording in Menominee
Yep.
Falls.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, there's a
Awesome.
recording studio there, so we know it very well.
Cherry Pit, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely. No, we know Eric.
Okay. So you're a musician too? I am
Yep,
too.
Awesome.
Okay, anyways, moving on. I came home in the summer, and I was just on vacation because, like I said, I was living in Honolulu at the time.
Well, that sounds great.
And my, just a little backstory, about 3 years prior, my twin sister was murdered. Okay?
I'm sorry to hear that.
So, thank you, but this was about a decade ago now. So, but 3 years prior, we were dealing with that. So I come home, and in her honor, my mom and dad built a studio. I'm a musician and a dancer. My dad was a musician. We had our family production, so he built this gorgeous studio, hardwood floors, vaulted ceilings, picture windows. Looks out into about 2 acres of land in the forest. So I was hanging out with this really eccentric guy who now just so happens to be the son of my child, or the father of my son, I should say. And so anyways, he comes over. We're just friends at the time. He brings a bottle of wine. He drinks. I don't. There's no drugs, nothing involved.
Sure.
I'm actually practicing for one of my sets in Menominee Falls, so I'm playing guitar. And as I'm playing guitar, it just so happened I was learning how to play Don't Fear the Reaper, which I'm sure you're totally familiar with. Classic. And it was in honor of my sister. Well, he ended up falling asleep after me, but I was strumming my guitar, playing Don't Fear the Reaper. I put my guitar on my guitar stand next to the bed. I fall asleep. I wake up to hearing Don't Fear the Reaper acoustically, and I knew it was my guitar right away. I knew my guitar was playing. And so I hopped up and just sat upright in bed, and there's a hallway that I was staring at, and the studio has 14-foot vaulted ceilings.
Okay.
So I look at the hallway, and there is a giant black mass, like literally about as tall as the ceiling. So really tall and really wide. It didn't look like a person. It was a column. It was almost like just a big black column, totally black.
Okay.
I look at it, and as I'm looking at it, the acoustic guitar starts playing faster. It's literally playing the lick from Don't Fear the Reaper.
Holy cow.
And it's this black mass all of a sudden comes right up to me, like in an instant, like it just went from there to there, and that's about 20 feet away from me. And it grabbed me by the jaw inside my mouth, put its hands inside my mouth, and pulled me by my jaw on the floor, across the wooden floor on my knees. And I'm not Christian, okay? I'm not Christian.
Sure.
I'm a believer of things, but I'm not Christian. Whatever, much love to all the Christians out there. But the first thing I screamed was, Jesus Christ!
Of course.
And I snapped awake, and I woke up, and I was terrified. And I didn't know it was a dream because it was right there. It was like real time, you know? And when I woke up, I thought it was over, but it wasn't. Don't Fear the Reaper was playing double time. So it was like da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and I was like terrified. And this time I look at the foot of the bed, and the black thing is at the foot of the bed, and it comes right on my chest, and I swear to God, it lifted me up by the ankle to the ceiling, and I was looking down at the bed, and
hanging you upside down.
Hanging me upside down by my ankle, and I was reaching towards the face of my son's father, who was not, we were just friends at the time.
Right.
And I was screaming. And I woke up to the cell phone ringing. And it was literally like, I think it was like 3:13 in the morning or something. And I was so terrified, I couldn't even speak. I was just like, And then I finally managed to utter, I said, answer your phone. And I don't know why I wanted him to answer, but I want him to answer it. So he answers his phone, and I'm just totally beside myself. He goes, oh, this is awful, that's awful, I'm so sorry to hear, that's terrible, it's awful, terrible. He gets off the phone, I said, what, who was that? And he goes, well, it was one of my best friends from Madison. their mother just died, a really brutal death. And I said to him, you have no idea. If you weren't here right now, I, honest to God, think that I would be frightened to death right now. I would be dead.
Sure.
And he didn't understand the gravity of what I was saying.
Right, of the dream.
So I stayed awake the whole night, and 2 weeks later, my dad died of an aneurysm in my arms while I was practicing my guitar.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That's a brutal and scary story.
It's brutal, but it's totally true.
Well, where can people hear your music? Give a little plug.
They can hear my music throughout the greater Milwaukee area. I play at a lot of casinos. My band is Ocean Rush. We do a lot of reggae, Hawaiian, jazz, pop rock, blues, you name it, we do it. We're anywhere from a duo to a 7-piece band. We play at the Twisted Willow. Sometimes we play at I forget that Packing House on the south side. We're everywhere.
Okay, cool. So see Ocean Rush and Maliha. She might have a scary story for you.
Yeah.
And we have another story for you folks. What's your name?
Vicky.
Vicky. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
So you have something unusual to tell us, I hear.
Yes. We had a very strange occurrence in our house. The house was built in 1934.
Wow.
It was a whole street before all the houses were built on the street. This house owned all that land, and I suppose they had slaves, or we'll call them slaves, people that worked there, because they had orchards and a farm and stuff.
Okay.
Well, there's always been some strange things happening in the house, like shadows. I practice the piano, and I always see shadows, and I turn, and there's nothing there.
That's weird.
And it's, freaked me out. And I never really said anything. And then my son kept waking up in the night, and he's not a little child. He was 16.
Okay.
And so his stories were real, and he said, something weird happened. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, I was woken up last night and the night before and the night before that, and I'm kind of afraid to go to sleep. And I said, what happened? And he said he woke up to this music that was like real from... And we looked it up after he told me the name of the song, and you know what? I can't remember the name of it right now.
So an actual, like a song.
I think it was "Let Me Call You Sweetheart."
Oh my gosh!
And
like an old timey.
Yes. And when we looked up the song on the internet the next morning, it was sung by this woman in 1934.
Oh goodness!
So I said, "Well, what do you mean you heard this song?" And he said, "Well, it sounded like." An old recording on a phonograph with this woman singing.
Wow.
And when I woke up and I looked all around, I turned on the lights, I saw nothing. And so then I went back to sleep.
Goosebumps.
I know. Well, it happened 3 nights in a row, so that was before he told me. So when we looked it up on the internet, and then I tried to find the recording that he heard, and when he heard it, he said, that's it?
Wow.
Yeah, and I go, oh my gosh, that's so weird. And I go, when was that written? And it said 1934, this woman sang it. And when was this house built? 1934. So then I got curious, and our neighbor across the street is like 95.
Okay.
So we went and asked him about who used to live in this house and stuff. And he just was naming some people, and he goes, oh yeah, but I think the woman... There was a girlfriend of the woman that lived there, and she was kind of hiding that she had, gay feelings or whatever. In those days, it was really, really taboo. So, her son, I think, killed her in that house.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and so I go, ooh, I don't want to live here anymore. But
no kidding.
He said, well, we don't even know if that's really true. But then I thought that was probably that lady singing that song.
Yeah, that could very well be. Oh my gosh.
So we said, well, at least it's a nice spirit. She plays music.
Yeah, I was gonna say when you said the piano thing, and
we're
it's
a musical family, so.
Well, that's good. At least you have a friendly musician. I'd like to. Well, okay, I won't say I want to have a musician ghost, but if I'm gonna have a ghost, let's have it be one that likes to party and sing.
So they can play some music and we can dance around.
That's right.
But I don't know. It happened a few more times after that, and Then, well, now he's 18 and he's always out, so I don't know. He probably zonks out before he hears it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's a wonderful story. Thanks for sharing it. That's
You're welcome.
so interesting and like neat that you guys got to have that experience and it wasn't,
a scary one.
Right. Exactly.
Thanks, Wendy.
Thank you. Have a great time at the conference.
Thanks.
And this is fun because we're with
Hailey Hudson.
Yeah, and Hailey's from Mukwonago, so she is from the old hometown. Now, Hailey, we're taking your weirdest experiences here, and I know you're weird because you're from Mukwonago.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
My weirdest experiences would be like a week of, I want to call it just agony.
Okay.
It was a really stressful time in my life, and I think it was just a lot of things at once, but for some reason I started to notice some weird kind of paranormal stuff in my bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah, it started out with like my cat freaking out, darting around the room, trying to catch something, and there was like no dust or anything, I swear to God. And I laid down for bed and was trying to get him to calm down, and I felt something touch my wrist coming from the back side of my bed.
Okay.
There should be nothing, no air conditioner vent, no anything.
And so you felt a weird presence.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Over the next, probably the next week, maybe it lasted for 2 weeks, I don't even remember. It just got more pressing, and I could feel something like my skin buzzing all the time, and it would be like something was always with me. And actually house sat for somebody for their 3 cats, and I felt like I was going to be pretty good there. I had been there all the time. It was a pretty familiar place, and I just would feel something like out of nowhere.
Like a presence.
Sitting on the sofa with me. Like you could feel the pressure against your skin, or the pressure as if someone had sat down, and there was clearly nothing there, no cat, no anyone.
Okay, so do you think it was associated? I mean, did it ever manifest itself like visually? Did you ever see anything, or was it just that constant, like a imp following you around?
It probably doesn't make sense, but visually, I guess I felt like I would walk out anywhere, whether it's in the dark or in the light, and it would kind of be like, if you've ever been standing up for too long and you get a little woozy and you get that weird, like, the air is spinning even though you can't see it, I would see that occasionally whenever I was, I guess, feeling like this presence was around more.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so you felt you felt like it was a real stressful time in your life that brought this on. What kind of took it off? Did it disappear? Was it all at once? Was it just like one day it was gone?
For a while, I think I just had to try to mentally find a way to block myself from it and not pay attention to it, not give it any kind of attention. Even if it was like, at one time, like I felt something was pulling my hair or trying to prick me with a needle, and I just would not look over, acknowledge it, do my best not to flinch, and I don't know if it got bored or...
So eventually the presence just left.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's a good... I mean, they say that when you are in a stressful situation and when you're feeling... when you're pushing yourself to the limit, that might be when you're the most susceptible.
Right. I think that's really true because I have not experienced anything quite like that. I've seen some smaller things and stuff like that since then, because that was probably 2 years ago.
Okay.
But at that time, there definitely was nothing else anywhere near that stressful in my life up until that point.
Well, let that be a lesson to everybody. If you're feeling stressed out or you're freaking out, it may be time to just relax, because you never know when that monkey on your back's actually going to be on your back.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Hailey. All right, and we're saying hello to one of our old friends here, and that is Lisa Van Buskirk from Madison Ghost Walks. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Mike. How are you at this fabulous conference?
I'm great. Thank you for helping us work the conference today and being part of everything. And you can see Lisa this month on June 12th and the 19th, MadisonGhostWalks.com. Make sure you come say hi, and she will show you a good time. For a good time, call Lisa.
Yes, for a good time, call me with a little bit of spookiness and haunting right in the middle there.
That's what we like. All right. So, Lisa, we're talking about the weirdest things that have happened to you or weird stories. And you got one for us?
I do. When I actually do my ghost walks, when we have a couple of the long stretches of walking, I chat with the people and say, do you have a ghost story? And 95% of the time, someone has one. So if they don't, I offer mine. And this is my best ghost story
Awesome.
ever.
I don't think I know this story, so I'm going to hear. I hear it the first time along with the audience.
Well, let's see. I'm originally from Michigan, so like long time ago when I lived there, I lived in a town called Saginaw. It's a pretty downtrodden town. And when I was there, I had a girlfriend there, and she had a couple very tragic family deaths. Her brother unfortunately shot himself. He was a very mentally ill person. And after that, her mom went to work in a group home. And while her lovely mother was working in a group home, she got brutally murdered there.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, so I didn't know this when I first met my friend, who we'll call Mary.
Okay.
But a very, very nice woman. And then when I got to know her more, I learned more and more about this. And she would just be what I would call a boring computer mainframe operator. Not anyone who I would pick out in this conference right now. I would say she would not come here. Not that type.
Sure.
Strange crap happened around her all the time. One time she called me and she said, my bathroom door broke last night. The sliding glass door on the tub. I'm like, how did that happen? She said, I heard it in the middle of the night. And I'm like, did the dog do it? She goes, no, I locked the bathroom up to keep the dog out. It wasn't cold out, so the glass just shattered. Just stuff like that. But one night she was at my house. I had this really cool loft apartment in a very dangerous city. They're cheap there. And at the time, I had quite a collection of fire trucks, and one of them was remote control. So she's over, and then in the middle of the night, this fire truck siren started going off and lights, and it had never done that before. I had it for like a year. So I'm like, oh my God. And she's like, oh my God. And I look at her, and her brother's name was Mark, and I go, it's Mark. I know it's Mark. Tell me he can play with my trucks whenever he wants, but not now. And it was like truly terrifying. Like I said, I had that toy forever. I've had it since then.
And it's never done that?
Never done that. And we both were like, neither one moved like to go down from the upstairs all night. It was just, that's my weirdest story ever.
Oh, that's a good one though. I mean, and it's obviously, she had a couple of people in her life meet a tragic end. And so maybe those people were trying to get in touch with her.
Yeah, there is no doubt in my mind that she often had very clear dreams with her mother in it. And every now and then, I would always say her brother was a mischievous one. He would do stuff like that. Not as bad as that, and it was mostly very friendly. It wasn't anything to be scared of. And after a while, be like, oh, it's your mom again, or it's your brother. And like I said, she is not a person that would be at this conference.
Sure. Oh, and just weird stuff. That's a good one, Lisa.
It was a good one, yeah.
Well, thanks for doing that. Thanks for bringing that. And also, don't forget, you can meet Lisa in person, MadisonGhostWalks.com, a couple times this month, and definitely through July and the Halloween season. And we'll see you next time.
Yep.
All right, we have our first group story. More than one person that are going to tell us a tale. And what are your names?
Jackie Taylor.
And Shannon Taylor.
All right, Jackie and Shannon, thank you for stopping by the See You on the Other Side booth here at the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. And what would you like to share with us today?
Well, we have a story about one of our paranormal investigations at a graveyard near Poplar Grove, Illinois.
Okay.
It was where we first received our first EVP.
Oh, wow.
Well, one of our really good EVPs, I should say.
Very clear.
She was walking through the graveyard all by herself.
Brave lady.
Yeah. And, well, the rest of us were kind of not within 100, 100 feet? Probably not even from you.
I just walked into the graveyard and hadn't even identified myself or where we were, what time it was. So he was about 50 to 100 feet behind me, and I heard him take a picture, and then he said, holy cow, we got to come back here and do more in depth. And at that time, I was carrying my recorder, which was on and it picked up a voice that I didn't hear at the time, that you could hear when we listened to it later. You could hear my feet crunching and the leaves, because it was late October. And when we listened to it in the car, and it said, "Here I am, he killed me."
Oh my God! What?
Yeah, it was.
Okay,
yeah,
goosebumps
it was
again.
It was actually very. I mean, you
like clear. It wasn't like
clear.
a questionable, because a lot of times those things come through and it's like, did they really say it? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
And we had people questioning us. We had a friend that is a musician who has his own recording studio, so he was able to pull out the highs and the lows.
Oh, okay.
So you could tell if this
So
was
it's
a
more
mixture
clear.
of a bunch of different sounds coming together to
man.
sound like a voice, you'd know
Okay.
it immediately.
Yeah.
Well, he pulled it apart, and he's a Catholic, and he's just
Oh, he's
like,
very much a skeptic.
yeah.
So.
Okay.
He's like, no way.
That's a good person to have analyze it.
Exactly. So he pulls it apart and he says, I don't know what kind of trick you guys are pulling and whether it was Jackie saying something, but these are not multiple noises coming together to say this, but there's a voice there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it was
man.
clearly, here I am, he killed me, and it kind of faded down into he killed me, and it was, like I said, it was in the middle of a graveyard, so it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not unlikely that there could possibly be a presence of
No,
someone.
it's like he slowed it down. He did a recording of, slowing the voice down. So you could really hear it. It's like, here I am. He killed me. He killed me. And it gets lower and lower and lower.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah, we got in this graveyard itself too. We got some really good pictures too. I mean, we got some gravestones like in the distance, and then there was one that right next to the gravestone was it was almost like, I would explain it as like hell opened up a hole, and there was flames coming out of the ground. I've got a picture of this. It's really cool.
But it wasn't. You didn't see that live. It was after
it was
you
just on
looked at the
just on a photograph.
And that is the same time that he clicked that photo, because we were watching it on our recorder in our time that I took the EVP, that I got the EVP.
Okay. So like
it's
something
like
at
this
that point in
flame.
time was happening.
It looks like a campfire just all of a sudden lit up right by the tombstone. And we've looked at different types of photography and shutter speed and so on and so forth. There's no explanation for that.
Unbelievable. Well, we love those unexplainable things. They're fascinating and they're spooky.
Yeah.
And they give me goosebumps. Like I just had. It's like every person I've interviewed, I've gotten like the wicked goosebumps. So many great stories. Thank you guys for sharing that with us. I hope you.
Thank you.
And we're, if I may plug it, we're
please.
State Line Paranormal Investigation, so it's spy. So yeah.
Okay. Is that you have a website or?
No, not anymore. We don't. We actually because my current job takes away too much time being a correctional officer. So
I see.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully
we used to, but
hopefully again someday you'll be able to.
Yeah, we'll
to get
probably
out there.
get one again.
This is our step back into it, so.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for stopping by, and you guys have a great time at the conference.
Okay, this is Lisa. I get to do an interview with Nicky, who I met earlier. She had to get a couple glasses of courage up, but she's got a ghost story for us.
I have a ghost story. It might not be a ghost, but it's a mystery.
Oh, we like them too.
Yes. So I shall begin?
Why don't you begin?
Okay. So this occurred at my grandma's house in probably about 2011. I was living with roommates at the time, and they were a little bit dirty for me, so I decided to go live with my grandma. She's got an old Milwaukee bungalow, and my grandma she was born in 1930. She lives on the downstairs portion. So I was moving upstairs into the upstairs portion. It's kind of like an attic, the layout of it, the Milwaukee bungalows. It's like an attic, but there's no kitchen and there's no bathroom.
Okay.
So it's 3 bedrooms, and I guess I could give a little history about it. I would always visit my grandmother as a kid. We stayed over there quite a lot, and the upstairs was mostly unused. My grandma lives on the bottom portion. I moved into the house, and honestly, this is just the most unexplained, weirdest thing that ever happened to me. I was up there, it was about 2 or 3 weeks after I moved in, I was in my bedroom and I had a friend over, and we were just talking. We were just having a conversation in the corner of the room, and I looked to my left. I just turned my head, and something caught my eye, and it was a black mark on the wall. It was like a white wall. So it was just a black mark, and I didn't have much in that room. That's why it caught my eye. And I've told this story so many times. It's been many years. So, and it was like in the shape of a handprint. And it was like the size of in total it was the size of my palm. So if it was a handprint, it would be like an infant handprint. And it was very kind of skeletal, but at the same time, it was very accurate to what a handprint looks like. Just like with the finger digits, with the segments, and just with the bone structure. And I do have a photo of it.
So did you ever notice this handprint before?
I didn't spend a lot of time. No, nothing like this ever happened before.
Did the handprint stay around on the wall?
I'm sorry?
Did the handprint stay around on the wall?
It is still around. It's there, but it's faded now. And I've asked my aunts about it. It's almost like somebody scrubbed it. So it's still there, but it's not as dark as it was. It looked like it was made of soot. But now it's like faded. And I'm just thinking, how did it get there? Because I understand coincidences do happen. People see like the Virgin Mary on a piece of toast, and sometimes bread just comes out looking that way. But in this experience, it's just that it wasn't there before. And that's the part that's weird, because when I saw it, it was about 2 or 3 weeks after I had originally moved in. And I don't understand why I wouldn't have seen it if it was there, because I remember, I actually have a memory of situating my pillows at the foot of the bed. It was actually right above my bed, which I didn't say before. And it was like right above where my head would be when I sleep at night. So
it just magically appeared there one day. All right, and then what happened with your head? We're talking.
All right. I've had many experiences. They're very terrifying. Google it if you don't know. But sleep paralysis, you're frozen, you can't move, and you have hallucinate. You see things. So what happened in this experience is I had a thought that, what if I made this a pleasant experience instead of a terrifying experience? And this is when I was sleeping underneath the handprint. At first, I didn't. I slept in the other room. One night I came home, I had been drinking, and I was brave because I had been drinking, so I was like, screw it, I'm going to sleep under the handprint tonight.
Atta girl.
So from then on, I did. So this is an interesting experience to note. There's no scientific actual explanation. I decided at a moment, I woke up in sleep paralysis. I couldn't move from a dream. And I'm laying there, and I thought to myself, what if I make this a good experience? So as I had that thought, I had the most euphoria I've ever experienced just wash over me from head to toe. And I heard some female whispering behind me, as if they were trying not to disturb me. I wasn't threatened by them at all, just like two females having a lighthearted whispering conversation. And then I felt a handprint, or not a handprint, I was underneath the handprint. I felt a hand touch my head and start to stroke and give me a head massage. And I was right beneath the handprint. So that was an...
So you did make a scary experience a very nice one eventually.
Right.
That's nice. I like the ending of that one. Good job.
Yes.
All right, so I just met, what's your name?
Maria.
Maria here, she had a very interesting study in the women's bathroom. So what did you find in the women's bathroom?
I found a Bigfoot, and... I'm not good at any of this. Go ahead. No, I found a Bigfoot
Bigfoot monster was in the women's bathroom at the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. Very frightening, wasn't it?
It was terrifying, actually. I had to pee, and I'm standing behind Bigfoot, and it's got very large blue eyes. And,
evidently, Bigfoot is a she.
It was a she. It was definitely a she. Nothing like seeing the big foot coming through the stall next to you while you're peeing.
That would be quite a sight. Well, now we learned something in the Paranormal Conference. Thank you very much.
All right, this is a special treat because we have with us Chris Carrabba, who is also from Mukwonago, Wisconsin. Went to high school together. Nice to see you again, Chris.
Good to see you too, man.
And a fine guitar player. And anyway, he is here representing the Zombie Squad organization at the conference. Let's hear a little bit about it.
Well, Zombie Squad is a group that was started in St. Louis with a group of people watching zombie movies in a bar, and said, that's not how you survive a zombie apocalypse. This is how you survive a zombie apocalypse. And it grew into the organization it is today. We are a 501c3 charity organization dedicated to help educating people on becoming prepared for any sort of natural disaster like floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, zombies, robots, aliens, whatever happens.
You know.
Yeah.
The regular.
Yeah, so we just got a chapter in Milwaukee started last year. Prior to that, I was working with the one in Chicago.
All right, cool. So if you want to learn more about disaster preparedness, make sure you check out, what's the website?
It is zombiehunters.org. That's got all the information on it, including local chapters in your neighborhood.
Awesome. So check out zombiehunters.org. And now Chris is going to tell us a little bit about a weird experience that he had.
Oh, yes. Well, I lived in Mukwonago for a while above a restaurant that's well known to be haunted. And one of the most memorable ones was shortly after a local radio station held a seance downstairs.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was glorious. I was working second shift at the time, and normally you'll get stuff like doors will be open, lights will be on when you're down in the parking lot, and they'll be off by the time you get upstairs. But when I was, after that seance, I heard knocking start at my front door, and I figured that someone was just looking for some information or whatever. So
Sure.
I went there, and there was no one there. And then there was knocking on my bedroom door, then on the bathroom door, and it kind of slowly worked its way around the apartment, knocking on all the flat surfaces like the walls, the windows, the doors, just kind of circling the whole room.
Oh man,
it was ridiculous, is what that was. And but it's, for the most part, the spirits that are up there, they're not really mean or anything. They just get bored.
Sure, so they just screw around with you every once in a
Yeah.
while. Okay, that's interesting.
So-
No, was that the in the olden days? Was that the restaurant? Okay.
Yep. In the olden days, it's called Fork in the Road now, I think.
That's right. It's called Fork in the Road, and I believe there was a fire there not too long ago, and did somebody die?
I don't know. I heard there was an injury, but I didn't know if it was fatal or not. That fire, as I drove by there shortly after it happened, that fire took out my bedroom.
Oh, wow.
Because my bedroom was on that wall. It started there's two apartments up there. There's an efficiency, and then there's a full two-bedroom.
I knew one of the other guys. Didn't Landon live there forever?
Yeah.
Landon's a great guy.
Yep. Landon moved in with me there, and then when he split, I had to find another place to live too. So
Okay.
But, so yeah, it's a very active place. I mean, if you're into like ghost hunting, that's a place to check out.
Fork in the Road in Mukwonago. Thanks a lot, Chris. Good luck with the Zombie Squad.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, we're with Kriston Harris from
The Rundown Live.
All right, where can people find the Rundown Live, and what are you guys all about?
Well, we're an alternative news and talk radio show. We do news that other people refuse to report. You can find that on therundownlive.com. We cover many different topics, and we have a talk radio show Monday through Friday where we have everything from high-profile guests to activists on the ground. We're just trying to make a difference in the community. And we cover all sorts of topics, including ancient history. Just
now you told me about something interesting today, and it's something we don't think a lot about, and that's giants. Give me a little rundown. Like, how did you get introduced to the term of giants?
Well, one day a few years back, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I was searching through the Library of Congress, and I actually located thousands of documents, well, about 1,000 documents of Indian effigy mounds or giant human skeletons being unearthed. And normally they wouldn't be by themselves, they'd be in pairs, or there'd be, something unique, double rows of teeth, extra fingers, giant utensils found in the area, and incredible institutions like the Smithsonian, universities, and real professors that you can tie back that were alive at that time. But the problem is a lot of the information has gone missing, I guess. And a lot of people call it a giant cover-up.
It's a giant cover-up.
Yeah, I know. Little funny there, a little joke, but it's a passion of mine. I've been working with a lot of different people behind the scenes. I've talked with Jim Vieira, who does a History Channel. L.A. Marzulli has an interesting point of view.
Oh yeah, we just talked about L.A. Marzulli in the last podcast. Interesting.
Oh, that's very cool. Yeah, L.A.'s a nice guy. He has an interesting point of view, especially when it comes to disclosure, because they kind of go hand in hand. A lot of people believe the giants are the result of ancient aliens mating with humans. So
okay.
And that's what the Book of Enoch says. So that depends on who you
talk to. So did you ever find about any giant stuff in Wisconsin?
Yeah, actually, that's how I found out about all this. I found a Wisconsin giant in West Bend that was 9 to 10 feet tall unearthed. You can find them in Madison. Delavan Mounds.
Okay, yeah.
Near Beloit. They actually had a 9'6" tall skeleton, I believe, in a museum for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Delavan had a really great basketball team.
Yeah, and all those things went missing. So the museum says the skeleton was never there. So, who knows? It's an interesting subject. I'm kind of curious on what these skeletons really were. You had the Smithsonian Institute at a lot of these places. Incredible people, like in Wisconsin, is P.R. Hoy. They even named a fish after him. And he opened up a lot of these Indian effigy burial mounds. A lot of time, the giants were found in Indian burial mounds, 9, 10, 11, 12, sometimes 15 feet tall across the nation. Now, whether or not those are the actual sizes, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm interested because there's a lot of evidence to support the theory that there was a giant race of human beings once.
Fantastic. And if people are interested in hearing your perspective, Kristen, where can they find you again?
You can find us Monday through Friday live at therundownlive.com, or you can download the app to your cell phone, or it's free. Check it out, therundownlive.com.
Awesome. We'll talk to you again.
It's Wendy again, and I'm back with a special guest here, Monica. Thank you for joining. See you on the other side at our booth. And I'm excited because you have a story that's something different from what we've heard, or at least from what I've heard today. And you have a story about...
It's about the Ouija board.
Oh man, one of my favorite topics. Favorite because it scares me so much.
Yeah, pretty spooky. The story starts, it happened a good while ago. I was maybe 10 or so, and my brother would have been 7, so I would have been 11, actually.
Okay.
There might be a year difference in there somewhere. At any rate, we were both young. We were probably too young to be messing around with a Ouija board.
And is that always the case? Like, what age is it appropriate to mess with a Ouija board?
Yes, very good point.
But yeah, when you're that little.
So it was one of our favorite games because he and I had very good chemistry with the board.
Yeah,
and
the siblings.
Really get the little marker, totally racing across the board.
The planchette?
Yes. Thank you for the correct terminology. So
that's what the Parker Brothers instructions told me anyway.
Exactly. The good old Parker Brothers model. So we would sit in front of the fireplace in our living room and play this game for hours. And for the bulk of the time that we played it, our little premature imaginations could only come up with really simple questions to ask it. Very many of them yes or no, as per the board's instructions or whatever.
Right.
But as we started sort of warming up and the board seemed to warm up to us, we got a little more creative. We asked the board whether or not our house was haunted. That's, of course,
Do you really want to know that?
The big thing. We thought we wanted to know.
Okay, that's fair.
We thought we did. So I think there was a little while where we didn't ask the questions the right way, so we were getting pretty pretty basic responses back. And it turns out, unfortunately, that our house was not haunted. But the Ouija board was kind of suggesting to us other options. I can't remember how it would put it, but it was suggesting that there were other ways to ask a question, so we kept asking it questions about, is the next door neighbor's house haunted? Are there ghosts in the neighbor? Like, we're trying to figure this out. Long story short, we were getting really into the game because the board really seemed to be taking on a personality of its own. It wasn't like it was just responding.
Just like in the movies when bad stuff happens.
Like in the movies, only it was really fun for a while. And so we finally were able to ask it some series of questions. I'm sorry that I can't remember exactly
That's okay.
But what we found out that we didn't know, being new residents to this neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia, we had moved here from Fort Wayne, Indiana, was that there were ghosts in the neighborhood, and that they were ghosts of Civil War veterans, that they came from a cemetery that had basically been forgotten, that was in the middle of our neighborhood. So we're thinking, wow, that's really random and creepy.
Yeah, what a weird thing to find out.
Really weird. And isn't it funny how the Ouija board can tell us such a, kind of specific thing?
Really.
Like, we wouldn't have thought that up ourselves.
How would your imagination,
Right. So we decided that we were going to look for the cemetery.
Of course.
So we asked the Ouija board where the cemetery was, and it told us. And there was a cemetery. There was
the goosebumps are back, everybody.
A cemetery that dated back to the Civil War, that included the veterans of the Civil War. And like 2 blocks up from our house, sort of squeezed behind, in this weird space behind some houses that wasn't obviously it wasn't anybody's yard, but we had never seen this thing before. It was really strange, and it was unmarked, totally overgrown. And I think that is the point when we decided to
retire the
Ouija board away for good. But I didn't think at the time to take pictures of these headstones or anything. I just knew that I was scared that this board had figured out a way to tell us some information, and we didn't know what to do with it.
That's not the kind of thing, that's a fact. That's not like the kind of thing that usually the Ouija board says, like, ooh, I'm a demon, and I was this person and so-and-so, but like this is a verifiable thing that you actually confirmed, and where on earth did that come from?
Yeah, it's not like, how do we interpret the shadow or whatever?
Right, Wow. Well, that is quite a story, I have to say. I don't blame you for retiring the Ouija board after that.
I think it's spooky.
It gave me goosebumps. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And
thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah. Have a great time at the rest of the con.
Thank you.
And we were hoping for a fight when we came here to the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference, and here come the guys from Blurry Photos.
It's going to be a podcast brawl right over here.
Yeah,
hard fightingest, hard swearingest, screamingest.
You know what I mean, McMahon.
That's right.
Ooh, yeah, brother. What you gonna do with the strongest paranormal force in the universe runs all on you, brother.
And when Blurry Photos borrows a Prius and drives 1.5 hours north of Chicago, brother, you know it's for real. Yeah.
All right, well, these guys, so introduce yourself, please, gentlemen.
Oh, I'm David Flora.
And I'm Dave Stecco.
And you can listen to them on the very entertaining podcast,
Blurry Photos. You can find it at blurryphotos.org and on iTunes.
The org makes it sound more intellectual, so you can tell your friends at coffee shops about it. .com, it's so pedestrian.
Right. Completely.
Only at the salon.
We're not pornographers, it's .org.
Fantastic. So how did you guys get into the paranormal?
Oh, man.
We were in an improv group together that briefly had a podcast, and there was a portion of it that David Flora was always in charge of, and he would say, hey, I want to talk about something kind of strange, and he would bring something up, and we'd go over it. And then that whole thing kind of fell apart, but David and I stayed in contact, and he was like, well, let's just do our own podcast where we just do weird stuff all the time, and we just do paranormal stuff. And so we had that discussion, and like all good discussions, we let that sit for a cool 9 months.
Right.
Well, we just
you
did
don't want to act too quickly.
Right, yeah, I don't want to seem overly eager.
Yeah, and what could happen in 9 months?
Nothing. No one's lives could change.
Nothing good.
So then Flora.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been interested in paranormal stuff. Back when I was growing up, when I was a kid, they had the monsters in my pocket, the little rubber toys of. They had like Spring Heel Jack and the Jersey Devil and all different kinds of cryptids. Of course, I didn't know what a cryptid was at the time.
Sure,
you
but
had it in your pocket.
my Catholic priest taught me what a monster in my pocket was.
You don't have to know what it is to have it in your pocket.
Exactly. So, whoa. But that's kind of what got me started, and then there were like there were books and stuff you'd read, and of course Bermuda Triangle, things like that, and spooky stuff you didn't want to read but you did anyway, and I don't know, it just sort of stuck in the back of my crawl. And then when we started doing this podcast, and I would talk about the weird stuff, I was like, oh, that's a lot of fun, we should expand on it, and then Blurry Photos was born.
Yep, just cleaning out Dave Flora's crawl every week.
Sounds good. So what's the weirdest thing that's happened to you guys? Make it paranormal, not like...
Not sexual?
We've been doing mescaline for 3 days in Ibiza.
Yeah.
I had a dream once when I was in high school that like really fits the mold for like an alien abduction dream where everything was hyper real. I don't remember the middle of it. I remember being paralyzed and kind of moving out of the room, and which I personally think was just a really scary dream, but it terrified me like no dream I've ever had. I was having friends over, and I think it was like my senior year. Like I was like an 18-year-old guy and still almost crawled into bed with my friends. I was so scared when I woke up from this dream. Didn't do it, thankfully. It's close. It's
Right,
close
you'd be hearing about that one for a few weeks. Like,
that's the stuff that follows you, dude. Flora, what about you?
Well, some of the stuff that's still in my crawl, when I think it was 4 or 5, I remember I was sleeping. I went to bed in the living room, which, I had a bedroom, I could have gone, but I just kind of fell asleep on the couch. And I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't even know why, but I remember looking over, and there was this huge, shadow of what I considered a giant, but it also, had a small giant on its back. This is what was in my child mind.
Sure.
Yeah. And I remember it walking from the front door into the kitchen, and it freaked me out, obviously. And then for some reason I remember running into my parents' bedroom and jumping on the bed and cowering. And then I woke up there the next morning, and when I went into the living room, my mom was sweeping up this debris from the ceiling. Like the ceiling had caved in right where I had seen this thing, and she was sweeping in just like, the ceiling fell apart. And I was like,
Hodor showed up.
Shadow person, it's like, I didn't know what, but I was convinced something had gone through the house in the night and had raised up and hit its head on the ceiling, and I don't know. Yeah.
Go back to bed, little David. It was just a shadowy giant.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right, so for more paranormal discussion and comedy, people can visit Blurry Photos at
blurryphotos.org.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's the end of the day, and we're here with the event organizer, the guy whose a little idea turned into this massive, awesome event, and so many people were here having a great time. T. Krulos, congratulations on your new book.
Thank you.
And you're wildly successful, I would say. I think. Is it premature to say that?
I don't think it's premature, and I know premature, and so I think that we can say right now that this has been an awesome success. We met so many cool people here today.
Yeah. So T, can you tell us about your book a little bit first of all?
Sure. Monster hunters on the trail with ghost hunters, Bigfooters, ufologists, and other paranormal investigators came out this week. It's all about me spending about 15 months meeting different people who are researching the strange phenomenon. And it's a book that's more about the people than the things that they are looking for. And
Cool.
so that's kind of what inspired today.
Great. And we saw a lot of those people here at the various booths. And
It was great. I had at least like 3 or 4 people who are speakers that are also featured in my book.
Awesome.
Jim Sherman, Linda Godfrey, paranormal investigators of Milwaukee.
Cool.
All in chapters of my book. So
yeah, the speakers today have been exceptional. I wish that I had more time to go in there, but I kind of been popping in and catching what I can. And I got to say, it was a really top-notch lineup you had. So
it was good. It was a good mix of people, I think.
Did you have any special memorable moments today, or things that you?
It's kind of a blur,
Yeah.
It was one of the most frantic days of my life.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was running around just trying to do all sorts of odds and ends, but I could see that people here were really enthusiastic, really having a good time, and that makes me very, very happy.
Definitely.
And there was small glitches here and there, like you'd have any event. Nothing that like destroyed the day. So.
Well, I would say that's definitely a thumbs up, if not actually 2 thumbs up.
Right.
So congratulations on both.
If people are looking for Monster Hunters, like where can they find that?
Oh yeah, Monster Hunters is widely available. You can find it at Amazon. You can find it at the big box stores. A lot of independent stores carry it as well. I was really grateful to have People's Books Cooperative is a local store here in Milwaukee. They carry my book and sold it here today. So it just if you search, you can find it pretty easily.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to reading it and hearing about those people. And Bigfoot just delivered a beer to Teeth. What a life!
Bigfoot just delivered me a beer.
Thanks, T. Great job today.
Thank you, T.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that little taste of the Milwaukee Paranormal Conference. Special thanks to our guest interviewer, Lisa Van Buskirk from Madison Ghost Walks. You'll be hearing from Lisa again soon. And also to Allison Jorlin from Milwaukee Ghosts for letting us know about the whole thing in the first place. Anyway, since we ran into the Sasquatch in Milwaukee, we were racking our brains for what that most absolutely appropriate song would be for that encounter in that city. So here it is. The Bigfoot Polka.
See that guy across the floor, he needs a good barber. That hairy dude is desperate for a cute dancing partner. None of the girls ever give our hirsute friend half a chance. The main problem is that his feet are just too big to dance. Oh, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, abominable snowman. Is he a or is he human? He might be the missing link from chimp to humanity. But when we dance, those gosh darn feet are just too big for me. You might think that he's innocent, like he just wants a friend. But he's not the sweet beast we saw embrace the Hendersons. Bigfoot stumbling around, he's had a little too much beer. Hey! I'm not gonna, how about you tell him get out of here? Oh, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, abominable snowman. Is he ape or is he human? He might be the missing link from chimp to humanity. But when we dance, those gosh darn feet are just too big for me. This is bad, he's getting mad, he's gonna make a scene. He's grunting and pounding his chest, he's looking right at me. He grabbed a beer barrel and threw it right on the dance floor. And now's the time I think we all should poke out the door. Oh, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, abominable snowman. Is he ape or is he human? He might be the missing link from chimp to humanity. But when we dance, those gosh darn feet are just too big for me. Big too big, big too big, big too big to dance. Hey, big too big, big too big, big too big to dance. Hey, big too big, big too big, big too big to dance. Hey, Bigfoot's come, we better run from us, big too big to dance. Hey!
Thank you for listening to today's episode. You can find us online at OthersidePodcast.com. Until next time, see you on the other side.